Good evening. I'd like to formally welcome everyone, including members of the gallery and press, to this council meeting. My name is Councillor Owen Sharkey and I'm Mayor of Golden Plains Shire Council. Tonight this council meeting is taking place within the Well in Smarsdale and is open to the public. This meeting has been live streamed in accordance with council's governance rules, and I welcome any viewers joining us online. As the meeting is open to the public to attend, if the live stream ceases at any time, the meeting will continue. We do have one councillor, Councillor Don Cook, online. Councillor Cook, are you able to see and hear us?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook, and I can see and hear you. Thank you. I will now recite the opening declaration on behalf of all councillors. We, the councillors of Golden Plains Shire, declare that we will undertake on every occasion to carry out our duties in the best interest of the community, and that our conduct shall maintain the standards of the Code of Good Governance, so that we may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in this council by the people of Golden Plains Shire. Acknowledgement of country. Golden Plains Shire spans the traditional lands of the Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar people. Council acknowledges them as the traditional owners and custodians and pays its respects to both Wadawurrung and Eastern Maar elders, past, present and emerging. Council extends that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are part of the Golden Plains Shire. We now move to apologies and leave of absence. Councillors, are there any apologies for this meeting or requests for leave of absence? No. I will move to the confirmation of the minutes. Councillors, we have a resolution before us to confirm the minutes of the unscheduled meeting of council held on the 20th of May 2025 and the ordinary meeting of council held on the 24th of June 2025 as circulated. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Moved Councillor Phelan and seconded Councillor Robbins. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. Councillors, are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? No. We now move to consider the formal agenda. Item 7.1. Councillors, page 6 of the agenda for this report, and the recommendation in front of us is that council adopt the Youth Council Terms of Reference as attached. Is there any questions? No questions. Would someone like?
I do have a question. Thank you. Just regarding the gender equality, I'm just wondering, it says that a gender impact assessment will be undertaken prior to the launch of the new model. I'm just wondering if you could explain, please.
For that through to Acting Director Ben Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So gender impact assessment is undertaken when council does implement any new policies, models or major projects that it is undertaking. So certainly in doing so, we'll be seeking equal representation from genders in the new youth council and welcoming people of all backgrounds. So certainly as part of, should the terms of reference be adopted, undertake a gender impact assessment to determine whether there's any detrimental impacts, any barriers to participation for anyone in the agenda.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And councillors, any further questions? Move to seeking a mover for the recommendation. Move to Councillor Kirby, seconded Councillor Gamble. Councillor Kirby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to say that the Youth Activation Committee would like to transition to a youth council We know that the youth have been in operation for the past 16 years within compliance and have addressed the councillors and council numerous times over this period. This will be the next platform for the members to be mentored and undertake training and development in leadership. The youth from the ages 12 to 25 will help assist to shape the future planning of Golden Plains and identify advocacy opportunities for the Golden Plains community. The aims are to provide a youth voice to council twice a year, engage and be the voice of young people, conduct official proceedings that work together towards mutual goals, and to serve as a consultative body to councillors and the organisation through providing insights on future planning, the delivery of services, infrastructure, activities, events and initiatives for young people within our shire. Council's governance team have reviewed and had input into the draft terms of reference. I recommend that council adopts the term of reference for the Youth Council. And I personally look forward to seeing many CEOs come out of this experience, as this will be a great stepping stone for any future endeavours they may follow on with. Thank you.
Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, thank you. This is a really positive agenda item or recommendation. The item marks the transitioning from the current Youth Activation Committee to a Youth Council. By council adopting the terms of reference, this represents a Youth Council role as an advocacy and advisory group to council. I'd like to congratulate and acknowledge, firstly, the Youth Council themselves, not just the present members, but past members involved in the building of the foundations in which this outcome is achieved, if endorsed by council. And also the officers, managers and members of the youth team for their guidance and support of the programs and the youth members over the years, and the various funding bodies and government grants and support over the years. With the endorsement of this recommendation, it will benefit all youth in our community with a voice and consultative body that has an input directly into this council and greater weight and advocacy generally. The Youth Council will also provide agency or choice in youth priorities, leadership opportunities, mentoring, social opportunities, event management, and organisation skills such as the amazing and oversubscribed Battle of the Bands. At Golden Plains Shire, our only other existing like group is the Disability Advisory Committee. It is important council leads and fosters groups in the community that have special identity and requirements to lead their best, lead their best identity. To that end, it is appropriate we work towards and have other formal advisory groups to council with similar terms of reference, such as an LGBTQI+ advisory group and a First Nations people advisory group. I'd like to see myself. I hope and wish this is something that can be advanced and achieved. But meantime, best wishes for our new Youth Council. It's supported. Thank you.
Councillor Gamble, would any councillors like to speak against the motion? Nobody speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 7.2, Draft Domestic Animal Management Plan 2026 to 2029. Page 9 of the agenda, councillors. I'll take the recommendation as read. Is there any questions? No questions. Is there a mover? Moving the recommendation, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion, recommendation, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins, thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm happy to move that council endorse the draft domestic animal management plan for public exhibition and community feedback. This plan sets out how council will manage domestic animals over the next 4 years, not only to meet our responsibilities under the Domestic Animals Act, but to ensure that we're supporting responsible pet ownership, community safety and animal welfare in a way that reflects the needs and expectations of our local communities. The draft plan touches on a wide range of issues. One of the more complex and often contentious topics is how we manage wandering animals, especially cats. I'd really encourage interested people to have a read through the draft plan in detail because it highlights some of the big challenges we have with managing wandering cats. We don't have our own domestic animal shelter in Golden Plains, so trapped cats have to be impounded in Ballarat or Geelong, which comes at a cost per animal. At the same time, many cats aren't microchipped or registered, so most impounded cats are not reclaimed and returned to their home. The Ballarat shelter is often at capacity, making it unable to take more cats. All these factors mean that if we implemented a cat curfew, even if we employed additional animal management staff to enforce it, there would be still serious practical limitations on our ability to implement it effectively. Instead, Council proposes to focus on encouraging responsible pet ownership and increasing desexing. Having said that, I invite the community to have their say and help us find practical and balanced solutions to the difficult questions we face managing animals in a growing rural municipality. Thank you.
Thank you much, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to thank the officers for an exceptionally good report that clarifies issues and constraints, potentials, and basically provides an in-depth look at the state of the play as outlined by Councillor Roberts. I'd like to acknowledge the hard work and coalface issues officers in this field face daily, and also to praise the Council's option of offering discounted registration fees for responsible residents who have outdoor cat enclosures. I believe this is unique in Victorian local government and a great measure to encourage responsible pet ownership. Also praiseworthy is the proposal for the running of do-it-yourself cat enclosure workshops. A brief aside, there is a Geelong-based business, Pet Nest Victoria, specialising in cat enclosure installations. I encourage residents, especially those concerned with disappearing wildlife, biodiversity, local extinctions, to make submissions on this draft. In the 20+ years I've been living in Teesdale, I've noted the disappearance of sugar gliders, ringtail possums, koalas and many bird and reptile species. I believe most people value and want to protect our wildlife and environment. There are many actions that Golden Plains Shire could take, such as cat curfews, but the main problem is, quote, resourcing constraints, end quote, which means, to my ears, not being prioritised by the council in terms of budgetary funding. Regarding the draft DAMP, as it's called, with feedback, I would offer might include enhancing the definition on page 9 of responsible pet ownership to include a specific mention of wildlife and also a specific mention of exercise walking dogs as part of attending to their needs. I think as a growing peri-urban and rural shire with fragmented and diverse pockets of remnant bushland, we have a special responsibility to be stronger in this area. I think the state government could give more support to many shires like ours. I know, for example, next agenda item, the 50,000 granted to reduce gambling harm. Not that that's a bad thing, but well, perhaps more support could be given to shires like ours on issues like these. I encourage residents to provide their feedback and thoughts to the draft public exhibition. Thank you.
Much, Councillor Gamble. Councillors, would anyone like to speak against the motion? Nobody speaking against the motion. I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.3, draft gambling harm minimisation policy, page 12 on the agenda, councillors. Take the recommendation as read. Is there any questions on this item? There's no questions. Is there anyone who would like to move the motion? Moving the motion, Councillor Gamble. Seconding the motion, Councillor Roberts. Thank you, Councillor Gamble.
I commend this draft policy for exhibition and thank the officers involved in the state Victorian government for providing funding of the $50,000. I note it's funded by the Vic Health Leading Healthy Communities grant, which is a competitive funding opportunity for fast-track councils in the Vic Health local government partnership, which Golden Plains is one. These grants are part of Vic Health's flagship place-based initiative. I think they mean local government there. They aim to support municipal health and wellbeing planning. Whilst Golden Plains Shire does not have a gaming pokie venue at the moment, we have newsagents, Tattersalls, and the rise and presence of online gaming and sports betting is full on through the media and online. I quote figures reported by the Victorian Gambling and Casino Control Commission, which is the independent regulator of Victoria's gambling industry, that for the 2023-24 financial year, Victorians lost over 7.3 billion to different types of gambling. I note the taxes and levies paid to the state of Victoria totaled over $2.3 billion. Pokies at hotels and clubs totaled over 3 billion of Victorian population losing money, with the government collecting over 1.2 billion taxes and levies. So there was also over 1.7 billion was lost to waging and other entities, which includes the online gambling I mentioned. So it's a serious social problem. This funding we've received and the policy is seeking to address. So I commend this to all councillors.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins, speaking in motion.
Thank you. This policy is a proactive step to protect the health and well-being of our community by reducing the risks and harms associated with gambling. It proposes strengthening council's position when considering the introduction of new electronic gaming machines, partnering with local sporting clubs to promote awareness of gambling harm and better understanding the impacts of gambling harm in the Shire. The policy seeks to protect the strengths of our communities, and it's built on the understanding that gambling harm isn't just a personal issue, it's a public health issue with real consequences for families. I'd encourage people to have a look and consider making a submission. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Robbins. Councillors, would anyone like to speak against the motion? Councillor Kirby.
Thank you. It's not so much speaking against the motion, but it's just that at the moment there's only a 65% uptake of clubs within Golden Plains Shire that will be part of promoting gambling within their organisation. So I'd just like to see the rest of those community groups come on board, and hopefully we can get to a 100% rating. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Much, Councillor Kirby. Would anyone like to speak for the motion? Councillor Gamble, I will ask you to close, and I'll try and think of a good pun for Councillor Gamble on this one, but I won't. Councillor Gamble, closing, thank you.
Personally, I don't gamble at all. I've always recognised that it's the odds are always stacked against it, and I think it's really good that we have a policy and actions. Councillor Robbins outlined some of them to just negate to an extent the social ill that and the consequences of all this money going out of people's lives and communities like ours. So yeah, so I commend this motion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillors, I'll put it to a vote. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay. Item 7.5, the Reserve and Provision Funding Policy. Sorry, item 7.4, recognition of citizens' excellence and achievements policy update. Councillors, on page 15 of the agenda. Take the recommendation as read. Is there any questions? No questions. Do I have a mover to the motion? Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion, Councillor Councillor Gamble. Councillor Robbins, sorry.
Thank you. This is a review and minor update of the policy for recognising residents and community groups who compete in sports at a state level. It clarifies what we'll do in a scenario where there are more than 4 people being recognised from one group, and it also changes the name of the policy. So it's a pretty minor update. And yeah, I'm happy to move the recommendation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Williams. Councillor Gamble.
Yeah, just to endorse what Councillor Robbins said, and to note the importance of recognition of and merit of achievements that some of our citizens achieve.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? With no councillor speaking against the motion, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. Item 7.5, reserve and provision funding policy update. Councillors, page 18 of the agenda. The recommendation is that council adopt the reserve and provision funding policy as attached. Councillors, is there any questions? Councillor Gamble.
Yes, I've got a question. Thank you, Nick. Just in the interest of transparency and accountability, I'd like to ask why no public exhibition for this policy update is planned here.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. I'll put that one to Acting Director McGrath. Thank you very much.
Okay. So Gamble, the community engagement policy allows for any policy document to proceed to community engagement. However, there needs to be a clear scope of what is being released, why and how the community is directly involved and can provide feedback. As this is an internal policy that relates to an accountant treatment, there is no requirement to consult with the community.
Councillors, is there any further questions? Councillor Kirby.
Yeah, thank you. Just in our previous council term, we did have some sales of Lamanda Drive, and we were setting up a special fund for that money to be directed into. It was for any other sales of land as well within the Shire, and I'm just wondering where that sits within this policy. Thank you.
Sure. I'll have to take that on notice and come back.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a second question, if I may.
By the way, Councillor
Thank
Kirby.
you. It's just regarding further down in the report, so I'll find it on here. It just says that when there's an amount above $20,000, that it goes directly to the CEO. Sorry, it's not in this part of the report. And I'm just wondering, will that policy then come back to council through the budget process and or through direction of council? So I might be one, Mr. CEO.
Thanks, Councillor Kirby, and through you, Mr. Mayor. Without referencing specific part of the policy that you're looking at, but I can if you can take me to it. But one of the changes that this policy makes, should council adopt it, is to require a council resolution on creation of new reserves, which isn't a feature of the current policy. I'm not sure if that's exactly the one that you're referencing, but it sounds like it might be.
I think Councillor Kirby might be referencing clause 4.4 transfer of funds from reserves.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got to change.
So for transfer of less than 10% of the variance, yep. So this just sets up an approval hierarchy. So they would go to the Director of Corporate Services for any variances greater than 10%. CEO approval is required.
So the point being is if it was anything over 20,000, but less than 400,000, so would that still apply and come back for a council resolution if there was something above 400,000?
That 400,000 is not on this item. That's CEO delegation you're referring to.
Yeah.
That 400,000 relates to expenditure. So this is spending limits. This is not a spend. This is about a transfer of monies between reserves.
Okay.
So for any transfers less than the 10% variance of the balance of reserve, that can be done by the Director of Corporate Services. Anything more than that, or more than 20K, would be the CEO approval.
No, that's fine. Thank you. There you go.
Much, Councillor Kirby. Councillors, is there any further questions? No further questions. I'll look for a mover. Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion, Councillor Hayden. Thank you. Councillor Robbins, thank you.
Thank you. This is the review of the reserve and provision funding policy. The main change is a clause requiring council approval if a new discretionary reserve is to be created. Council has to be presented with a report detailing why the reserve is required, where the funds are coming from, what the funds will be spent on and when, and how long the reserve will be required, and how much money is expected to go into the reserve and how it will be closed. I think this is a good change to make sure that decisions to set aside funds are visible and subject to scrutiny. It also provides a practical opportunity for councillors to better understand and engage with the financial management of council. It's an aspiration of mine that we build the capability of our councillor group, especially when it comes to financial management. Understanding when and why we set money aside is a vital part of our governance role, and being involved in decisions about reserves helps us to understand and fulfil our financial stewardship role more effectively.
Councillor Robbins, Councillor Hayden.
Councillor Robbins has summed it up beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hayden. Any councillor like to speak against the motion?
Could I just ask a further question?
The time for questions has lapsed, so we are in the middle of the debate.
Can I pose a question? Just the role of audit and risk in overseeing this. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I just want to highlight that that's an extra safeguard for us.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Councillors, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.7, the update of council committee delegations. Councillors are referred to page 22 of the agenda, and this is referring to the Audit and Risk Committee. Councillors.
6.6.
The 7.6, the review of instruments of appointment and authorisation of Planning and Environment Act 1987. Councillors, my apologies. Page 27. We have a recommendation in front of us. I'll take that as read. Is there any questions, councillors? With no questions, I'll look for a mover to the motion, to the recommendation. Is there a mover? Moving the motion, Councillor Robbins, and seconding the motion is Councillor Campbell, thank you. Councillor Roberts, thank you.
Thanks. There's been a bit of staff movement, so we're once again updating the appointment of authorised officers under the Planning and Environment Act. We've had a few of these now. Yeah, nothing really controversial about this. Just welcoming Ben as our acting director of community planning and growth, and that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Roberts. Councillor Gamble.
Seconding what Councillor Robinson said, and just, a procedural motion that needs to be brought to us to endorse. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gamble. Would any councillor like to speak against the motion? No councillor speaking against the motion. I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Now, item 7.7, as previously described, update on council committee delegations. Councillors, page 22 of the agenda. We have a recommendation in front of us to appoint a councillor onto the Audit and Risk Committee. Could I have someone move a motion, please? Moving the motion, Councillor Kirby, just let us know what the motion is that you are moving.
I'd like to appoint Councillor Emma Robbins to the Audit and Risk Committee for the balance of the 2024-2025 term.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Would councillor like to second the motion? Second the motion, Councillor Hayden. Councillor Kirby, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is because you have now stepped into the role of mayor, there has become a vacancy, and as a council group, we need to appoint someone to this position on the Audit and Risk Committee, and Emma put her hand up at our briefing day, so I can nominate her. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Councillor Hayden.
I think with like to second what Councillor Kirby has said. I think Councillor Robbins' background and interest in this, I think, should be an incredible asset to the Audit and Risk Committee.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hayden. Would anyone like to speak against the motion? Councillor Vol, no.
I'd like to speak for it as the outgoing delegate to the board.
I don't understand the link.
Councillor Cook is going to assume the role from this delegation. I'd just like to say a few words as the outgoing delegate on the tourism board.
So this item here is just referring to, and the motion that is put forward to us is just on the Audit Risk Committee.
On 7.7 now. So,
If I can clarify that if you wish, Mr. Mayor. And that's just simply to say that the report does reference the fact that Councillor Cook, as a new councillor, automatically assumes the portfolio or the committee responsibility of the councillor that he replaced, former Councillor Cunningham, on the Tourism Growth Long Ballerine Board, for which you've been the proxy and acting in the interim. But that's not part of this recommendation and motion. Whereas the appointment to the Audit and Risk Committee requires a formal resolution of council. So that's the distinguishing factor.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. But apologies, Gamble, if you, Councillor Gamble, if you want to.
Yeah, just to, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the board of Tourism Greater Geelong Ballerine for my very positive experience attending the meetings over the last few months since Councillor Cunningham's resignation. I'll write to the board and thank them, and I'm happy to help Councillor Cook and wish him well as our representative on this important body for our region and many Golden Plains residents, businesses, livelihoods, and pride in where we live.
Yes. Thank you very much. Would any other councillors like to speak on the motion? If no other councillors speaking on the motion, I will put it to a vote. All those in favour? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillors with no. Councillors, I refer to us to page 24 of the agenda. The recommendation there that council note the delegates report the informal meetings of council for the past month. Someone like to move that motion? Moves Councillor Robbins, seconded Councillor Phelan. Councillor Robbins, would you like to speak to?
Thank you. I attended the Rokewood Community Hub and Pavilion opening, which is an amazing investment by the Victorian Government to deliver a really extensive project that supports football and netball, but also provides a multi-purpose community hub. I also attended the Golden Spaces exhibition opening in Smythesdale, where there was a Q&A with 3 of the artists. It was fantastic to view the artwork, which is just out in the hallway here if anyone wants to have a look after the meeting. And hear about the experiences that artists have had learning from each other through local groups like the Gold Rush Painters. Some people think that you can look at the delegates report and tell which councillor is doing the most work, but attending these kinds of community events isn't the work, it's the reward. And this is when we get to celebrate outcomes alongside the people we're elected to represent, and it's a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you much, Councillor Robbins. Councillor Phelan.
I'd like to second Councillor Robbins' remarks. I think that from my point of view, the Rokewood Community Hub opening, I attended that, and I'm not quite sure about who's in charge of, or who was in charge of the operations or overseeing the building or for the provision of the building, but there seems to be an issue with the septic tank and it needs to be addressed, and I don't know who was the manager of it, but from my point of view, being there on that day was still offensive and things got to be addressed.
Thank you much, Councillor Phelan. Any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Kirby.
Thank you. I was very disappointed that I couldn't attend the opening of the Rokewood Community Hub as I was at a prior engagement in Tasmania. I know that we spent $3.9 million on the community hub, but we also had $500,000 from council over the last few years, and we did upgrade the septic. So I'm not sure what the problem was on the day and why, because it is a very large septic that was put in place there. Maybe there was a lot of people for the opening.
Well,
Councillor
there wasn't any more.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we'll take that as a comment and take it on notice and get something back on that. But just speaking to the delegates report, please, Councillor.
But so other than that, there is a number of community groups that will be using the community hub as well. We also have the Rokewood tennis, the Rokewood Primary School utilises the grounds for their sports days as well. So it's going to be a good investment for Rokewood, and I must say I probably am a bit biased because I live in Rokewood as well, but just very pleased to see some great outcomes for the cricket club and football netball club as well. I've also been attending online some meetings with, not in our name, this is regarding the new emergency services tax. So it's the next steps are the challenges and what's going to face our councils in the future and the residents of the Gold Plains Shire. So just to let you know that, I am looking this at a perspective that it doesn't matter whether you are a Liberal voter, a Greens voter, a Labor voter, whatever party you represent. I'm there for the people of the Gold Plains Shire, and I think this tax is going to hurt everyone within our shire. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kirby. Just a reminder, councillors, delegates report, just speaking to the things that you've been to as opposed to opinion of things. Councillors, is there any further? Councillor Gamble?
Yeah, thank you. I attended the Bannockburn Market and also the Contracts Committee meeting too. But I wish to advise councillors, staff and the community generally, if not already aware, on Saturday A respectful memorial garden to honour the memory of Caleb Wesley was constructed overlooking the scene. Step back near the Devilsbury and Cycling Park. On the Teesdale Facebook page, I commented, quote, there was a lot of coordination, consultation, permissions and care that went into the creation of this memorial garden to honour the memory of Caleb. Special thanks to the Wesley family for their permission and support. To Chris, who's a Teesdale local and owner of Zorba's Gardens Landscaping, for donating a lot of materials, time and workers, and to Kerry Dalziel as main organiser. Thanks also to the landowner, Department of Transport and Planning, and the council for coordinating between the Department of Transport and Planning and the Teesdale Community Planning Group, with Phil and Steve mentioned in particular. I didn't mention them, but also acknowledging others in the Teesdale community for helping to make this possible. There will also be a plaque to be mounted on the boulder at the head of the gardens near the sea, which I hope the council can assist with contacts and experience with businesses that do that sort of work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Campbell. Any other councillors like to speak?
Yes, if I could, Mr. Mayor, I also attended the Rokewood Community Hub, and what I was impressed with was the diversity of people that were there, from the volunteers who were greeting people and taking their money at the gate on the way in, to the teams of netballers out the back, the people on the sausages. It was just a great community event. I think everyone was happy to be there, and it was a remarkably friendly community effort, and I think that's what epitomises the Golden Plains Shire, and all benefit to the community for that.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cook. Any other councillors like to speak? I will just very quickly also had a busy month. Like most councillors, and Councillor Robbins referred to the amount of other things that we do behind the scenes that don't get delegated here. We're going through the process of CEO recruitment, so that has taken up a considerable amount of time by all councillors. I myself, along with the acting CEO, headed up to Alga, which was a fantastic opportunity to meet some diverse councils around Australia. Got to meet a lot of local councils there. We also had the opportunity, took up the opportunity to meet with peri-urban councils of Victoria, that also set up a national meeting there as well, which we attended bright and early one of the mornings, which was a great opportunity to express the challenges that are presented before us as peri-urban councils. Attended a board meeting, also had the opportunity, myself and the acting CEO, Mr. Scott, to meet the Minister of Local Government, Nick Stakos, and really got a good conversation and a good hearing there by all of the Ballarat Regional Councils, and had a really in-depth conversation, and it was great. Both local members were there. All councillors got to express concerns on things like emergency services levy, rubbish, and the conversation that ever ends about cost shifting to councils like us. So good conversations was had. I genuinely felt that we got a hearing there, and there'll be a few outcomes from that. Attended the MAB regional meeting in Torquay, which was another opportunity to meet our regional councils there, and again sharing the similar issues there. So very busy month. Also attended the Rokewood. It was fantastic to see the attendance there. Great to see the outcome of that. That's something that we as previous councillors have gone through a long journey on that. It's nice to see the handover of that now, and the community management and all them looking after that building now into the future. So it's a great opportunity there for local community members to attend. That wraps me up for the month. councillors, and with no one further, I will put the motion to a vote. All those in favour? I'll take that unanimously. Thank you very much, councillors. With no notice of motions, no petitions, and no urgent business, I will now seek a councillor to move us into confidentiality for our last item of discussion, 10.1. Councillor moved Councillor Kirby, seconded Councillor Hayden. All those in favour? Thank you.